I understand the minister made an announcement today, which is a great news announcement, that the $8.4 billion is committed for transit investment in the city, and I think that's great news. And what the minister confirmed is that the will of council is being taken by the province, and the will of council is the motions that were passed in February and March. Similarly, if the will of council were to change, then we would expect the province to consider that change.
But the
minister doesn't the cabinet vote entrench the decision? It's in Scarborough, the minister basically said this is done. There'll be no subway there. It'll be the rehab as the will of council ordered a few months ago.
Absolutely, and that's the position of the province. That's the position of the province, and I think that the One City proposal is bigger than that initiative. I mean, certainly there is a component of One City that includes the extension of the Bloor-Danforth line to Shepherd, which we think is good transit, but that's not the will of council. It needs to come to council. It needs to be studied. One City needs to be studied. A funding proposal needs to be studied. So what we're talking about in July is whether or not there is the will of council to continue studying a larger transit plan that serves every corner of the city and a funding model that supports that plan.
But Shirelli was pretty adamant. They're building that Scarborough LRT, and they're tired of council
changing
the transit plan.
Well, we're hoping that we'll get a lot of support from the Liberal MPPs out in Scarborough that we think are going to be very supportive. But we understand that the minister has to deal with reality. And right now, Councillor Stintz and I have just put out a One City transit proposal and funding model just two or 3 days ago, 2 days ago.
But Councillor Stintz, don't you also have to deal with reality? The reality is that the province has said this is the limited amount of transit dollars we have, and Cabinet has made a decision that that's higher. So the reality is that One City doesn't have a hope, really. The province is saying, well, this is our plan.
But One City didn't rely on, the big component of One City is that the city is willing to step up and fund our 1/3.
1/3 only.
And so,
isn't reality that the province has just told you this is our transit plan?
So
and,
for the $8.4 billion
and it includes a rehabbed Scarborough RT.
Well, exactly. Because there is, at the time that council approved that, at the time, there was no additional funding. And so we were making decisions based on what was before us. As I say, the will of council decides, and they haven't decided. So we need to wait for council to make a decision on those matters. If there is a decision to find the money and to ask the province to reconsider, then we would expect the province to take that under consideration.
How the minister's saying it's over.
And that may be the position, and that's okay, because One City is bigger than the extension of the Bloor-Danforth line.
But it's your first line.
So far,
it's one of the priority lines along with the Lakeshore, the East Bay front.
Yeah,
and so we have lots of projects, we have lots of need in the city. And part of our One City proposal is to acknowledge that transit is bigger than those 4 lines. So obviously we'd like to get the will of council to support this initiative moving forward. Should we get that support, then we would want the province to at least consider it. If they come back and say, no, we're sorry, it's too late, that's the decision we will respect. They are our partners. They will continue to be good partners. And there's a lot of other priority projects that we can identify to continue to invest and build transit across the city.
With the Shepherd subway and create the loop that's been on the books for 50 years in all of their planning documents. But that means Councillor Stintz and de Beermaker have just reopened the Shepherd LRT debate, as well as opening up the Scarborough RT debate. And they did it on their own without talking to anybody in the mayor's office, the premier's office, the minister's office, or Metrolinx. So, you know, I hear Councillor Stintz saying, well, you know, if council decides this is the way we want to go, then, you know, the province have to talk to us. Well, yeah, but, you know, if we keep changing our minds, this is not the way you design transit systems. This isn't the way you do planning, and this isn't the way you engage other levels of government in multi-billion-dollar decisions. You know, you have to work on this in a proper way, and not just float ideas in the summer. You know, I think what the minister's announcement today speaks to the frustration that the province and Metrolinx must have, as well as many other people have, that if councillors, individual councillors or small groups of councillors keep coming up with new schemes and changing their minds and trying to change the direction of multi-billion-dollar spending decisions, you know, at some point somebody's got to say enough is enough and we're going to move forward. And Metrolinx and the province are the ones who are funding this. Metrolinx was created to be the regional transit planning authority. Let them do it. You know, I'm in favor of extending the Bloor-Danforth subway up to Shepherd, because then we can link it with the Shepherd subway and create the loop that's been on the books for 50